So how do you get surplus funds from foreclosure? Well, this is Attorney Bob Diamond, and I'm here to show you the path, because that's the best way to learn from someone who knows. So we're going to be talking today about mortgage foreclosures and how you get surplus funds. There's a little bit different path for tax foreclosures. I've done other videos on those, so if you want to know about tax foreclosures, just search on my channel. But for mortgage foreclosures, that money is almost always going to be in the court system. And that's important to know because when it's in the court system, it's called a judicial claim. Judicial, like judge. So judicial claim. What that means is that you need to file something called a petition, which is a way that you request that a judge order that the money be given to you. So typically in these situations, the money is going to be in the clerk of court's account, meaning they have a checking account for the court and the money is usually sitting in there. And so the judge needs to issue an order telling the clerk of court to release the money to you or to your client if you're representing someone else, meaning if you're, say, the Overages business and you're working with claimants, then that would be you. So the way you do that is you get a lawyer to prepare a petition. They file that with the court, and then they're going to get a hearing date, typically 30 to 45 days later. That's a scheduling hearing. And they go, the lawyer, you don't have to go, but the lawyer goes, and the judge says, what's this case about? The lawyer says, hey, property was sold at a foreclosure auction, and there's money left over, and the former owner is here applying for the money. And the judge will say, okay, how long do you need? And say, well, it's a half an hour to 45-minute hearing at the most. And the judge will say, is there anybody that needs to be notified? And you probably be notifying the party that foreclosed, the various taxing authorities and things like that. The lawyers take care of that. Those people get notices, and then the judge will schedule it for the next hearing. Typically, that's going to be about 60 days later. A little faster, a little slower, depending on the court, but about 60 days after that initial conference, you'll come back for a second hearing, and at that hearing, the judge is going to decide the case. And there, the lawyer is going to say, well, this, Sally Smith was the former owner of the property. It was foreclosed by, Bank of America. Bank of America was owed $200,000. The house sold for $350,000, so there's $50,000 left over, and we'd like you to direct that money be awarded to my client. Very simple. And the judge will say, okay, anybody else here that thinks that they deserve the money? Typically, there won't be anybody else there. And then the judge will say, fine, I'll write an order that tells the clerk to disperse the funds to you, and usually you would get the check about 2 weeks later. It's generally that would work. Not terribly complicated, and the most important thing to know is you do need to hire a lawyer to do this, because especially if you're working in the excess funds recovery business, you can't represent other people in court. So unless you're a licensed lawyer, you can't do that. And the other thing I would tell you is if you're a homeowner where you say, well, I could maybe do it myself and save the money, it's really complicated to just get through the overhead and the intricacies of getting into court and doing things right. And it's just probably beyond what almost anybody can do as a non-lawyer. And I would say if you're struggling to come up with the money for that, then just talk to a lawyer about doing it on a contingent fee basis. And I think generally a 10% contingent fee for this kind of work should be fine. You might have to talk to a couple people, but not hard to do, not hard work, and that's how you should work it. And this can be done fairly quickly. You could get your money within a couple of months. There can be large amounts of money left over. In the overages business that we see, it's not uncommon to see six-figure overages, meaning $100,000 or more is pretty common because houses in the past 5 years have gone up by more than 50% all across the country, and it tends to make big equity cushions. So if your house gets sold at a foreclosure auction, there's a good chance that there's extra money left over, which is why people in the overages business have a great business because they get lists of monies that are owed to people. You just call them up and see who wants to hire you, and those people you represent, and go get them some great money. So it's really, really good. It's a good business opportunity for people. And if you're thinking of it as a business opportunity, I would say think about if this is right for you. And who would this be right for? Well, number one, someone who wants to make money, but also wants to do it by helping people. Because ultimately what we're doing is we're finding these people who have been really kicked hard. I mean, they lost their house to foreclosure. It's really difficult emotionally. It's just difficult in all kinds of ways. And you're going to help them get a big windfall that they didn't expect. It's a great feeling. I do it every day. I love my clients and giving them the news. There's a big check they could get, and they're really happy. And if you'd like to make money by helping people and making great money yourself, it's a terrific business for you. It's not a business for you if you're lazy or you're not going to do the work. I see lots of successful people, and I see lots of people who aren't successful. And the thing that ties them together, the people that aren't successful are not doing the work that really needs to get done, which is reaching out to prospective clients of yours and seeing who wants to hire you. Because for a lot of people, they start calling, they don't get any yeses quickly, and they're like, oh, this is too hard. Well, I got news for you. Every business has its hard aspects to it. And in this business, the hardest aspect, to the extent it's even hard, is you have to make a lot of calls to get people signed up. Because a lot of people, when they hear that they could, claim $100,000 or more, just find it hard to believe. And as the person selling that service, you have to spend time with them. You have to talk to them. You have to establish some rapport with them. And you need to follow up, because they're probably not going to hire you the first time they set eyes on you, or the first time they hear you on the phone. That's probably not how it's going to work. You have to spend time with them. You have to be patient. And the people that do that are successful. The people that don't do that aren't successful. People that don't do it are busy like making the world's most perfect logo, or like, oh, I got to design an amazing website. When I started this business, I had no logo. I had no website, but I did have a phone. And I would call people and talk to them and say, hey, I found some money with your name on it. I'm willing to go do the work on a contingent fee basis. Would you like to work with me? And I got people to work with me. I worked my way through those cases, and I did great. And you can too, but you always need to focus on what the core activity of that business is. And in the overages business, it's reaching out to claimants by phone, by mail, sending them emails, sending them follow-ups, and keeping on top of them to get them out of their slumber to work with you. Because a lot of people are just feeling a little depressed, a little sad, having a hard time getting out of the couch because they lost their house. And you got to be that energy, man. You got to get them going again. And you can do it, but you have to bring that energy to it. But for the person who has the energy to bring, you can do great with this business, and it can be absolutely amazing. There's no better feeling than taking someone who's down and out, lower than a dog in the dirt, and then you get them a big check and you just watch life spring back into them. They get back into housing. They get back into life again. They get back into joy again. They get back into doing well again, and you can be the fire starter for that. When you drop $100,000 or $200,000 into the lap of someone who just lost everything, it is a new lease on life for them, and this can be great for you. So hopefully this was a good educational part on how to get surplus funds from foreclosure. Remember, it's a court process. Hire a local lawyer. If you're looking for a lawyer, a good way to do it is look on some of the online resources. LegalZoom has some references to lawyers. I like martindale.com is my personal favorite. Look for a lawyer who puts up practice areas of real estate, and also ideally someone who does tax assessment appeals or something to do with taxes. But a real estate lawyer can handle this. They probably will never have handled a case just like this before, but they can figure it out. And just work with them and you could do great. If you want to know more about the overages business, kind of round out your education, if you click down below, I put a link to my introduction to the overages business video. There I spend 15 or 20 minutes on YouTube just running down this business, how it works, and how you could get into it. And just go watch that. It's free here on YouTube. It's a great way to extend your education. And if you have questions, put them down below. My staff and I do go through the questions. We gather them up and we look, say, oh, a lot of people are asking that. Let me do a video on that. So if you put your question in, I might be directly addressing you next time, answering exactly your question. But just put it down there so I can see it and hopefully get a video out to you. So thanks for being here today. If you like this content, then just subscribe for more. I'm always talking about overages and tax sales and mortgage foreclosure sales. That's kind of my work world. So hopefully I can be helpful to you in that respect. So definitely subscribe to my channel and you'll get more on that. And if you're interested in more in overages, then click on that intro to the overages video and I will see you over there.